Hello everybody, welcome to my channel.
Anjelica Huston is an American actress, director, and former model, celebrated for her commanding presence, distinctive features, and the depth she brings to complex, unconventional characters. Born on July 8, 1951, in Santa Monica, California, she hails from one of Hollywood's most illustrious families. Her father was the legendary director John Huston, and her grandfather was the acclaimed actor Walter Huston, making her the third generation in a dynasty that has profoundly shaped American cinema. Huston spent much of her early life in Ireland and England, growing up in a world steeped in art, film, and literature. Her upbringing under John Huston's adventurous spirit and bohemian lifestyle profoundly influenced her worldview. She made her screen debut as a teenager in her father's film, A Walk with Love and Death, 1969, but she initially pursued a career in modeling before fully embracing acting in the late 1970s. Her breakthrough came with Prizzi's Honor, 1985, directed by her father. Her portrayal of the cunning hitwoman Mayrose Prizzi earned her the Academy Award for Best Supporting Actress, making her part of one of the few three-generation Oscar-winning families in history. The performance showcased her ability to blend intelligence, sensuality, and menace, a combination that would become her hallmark. Throughout her career, Anjelica Huston has built a filmography marked by bold choices and striking performances. She captivated audiences as the glamorous yet terrifying Morticia Addams in The Addams Family, 1991, and its sequel, Addams Family Values, 1993, roles that made her a cultural icon. She also gave unforgettable performances in films such as The Grifters, 1990, for which she received another Oscar nomination, Enemies, A Love Story, 1989, and The Royal Tenenbaums 2001. Huston has also collaborated extensively with Wes Anderson, appearing in films like The Life Aquatic with Steve Zissou 2004 and The Darjeeling Limited 2007, bringing her trademark mix of wit, melancholy, and elegance to his distinctive cinematic world. In addition to acting, Huston has directed several films, including Bastard Out of Carolina, 1996, a powerful adaptation of Dorothy Allison's novel that was both acclaimed and controversial for its unflinching portrayal of abuse and resilience. She also directed Agnes Brown, 1999, a story that reflected her sensitivity to human struggle and quiet strength. Her personal life has been as compelling as her film roles. Huston had a long and tumultuous relationship with actor Jack Nicholson, which lasted nearly 2 decades and became the stuff of Hollywood legend. In 1992, she married sculptor Robert Graham, and the two remained together until his death in 2008. In recent years, Anjelica Huston has continued to work in film and television, lending her voice to animated works and appearing in projects such as John Wick, Chapter 3 Parabellum, 2019. Beyond her artistic contributions, she is known for her eloquence, independence, and unapologetic nature, a woman who embodies the essence of old Hollywood glamour while constantly reinventing herself for new generations. Anjelica Huston's later career reflects not only her enduring talent but also her remarkable ability to evolve with the changing landscape of cinema. While she remains deeply connected to the heritage of classic Hollywood through her family legacy, she has continually embraced new forms of storytelling that emphasize individuality, intelligence, and emotional honesty. After the success of the Addams Family films in the early 1990s, Huston transitioned into a series of complex and introspective roles that further proved her depth as an actress. In The Grifters, 1990, She delivered one of her most acclaimed performances as Lily Dillon, a hardened con artist navigating a dangerous world of deception and survival. Her work earned her an Academy Award nomination for Best Actress, cementing her reputation as one of the finest character actors of her generation. Critics praised her ability to blend vulnerability and ruthlessness, creating a character both pitiable and terrifying. Huston's collaborations with Wes Anderson in the 2000s revealed a softer, more reflective dimension of her craft. As Etheline Tenenbaum in The Royal Tenenbaums 2001, she portrayed the graceful, intelligent matriarch of a dysfunctional family, delivering a performance that was understated yet emotionally resonant. Her subsequent work in The Life Aquatic with Steve Zissou 2004, and The Darjeeling Limited 2007, reinforced her status as one of Anderson's key muses. Known for bringing quiet gravitas to his whimsical narratives, beyond film, Anjelica Huston has thrived in television. She earned Emmy nominations for her role in the miniseries Lonesome Dove, 1989, and her portrayal of a fierce Broadway producer in NBC's Smash, 2012-2013. Her television work reflects her comfort with both drama and satire, often portraying women who are authoritative yet emotionally layered. As a director, Huston has shown remarkable courage in tackling difficult subject matter. Her debut feature, Bastard Out of Carolina, 1996, received critical acclaim for its raw and empathetic portrayal of poverty, trauma, and endurance in the American South. Though controversial for its subject matter, the film established Huston as a director unafraid of moral complexity. Her follow-up, Agnes Brown, 1999, a tender comedy drama set in Dublin, demonstrated her gift for exploring the resilience of ordinary women facing hardship with dignity and humor. Off-screen, Huston is admired for her poise, wit, and outspoken independence. In her memoirs, A Story Lately Told, 2013, and Watch Me, 2014, she offers an unflinching portrait of her extraordinary life, from her unconventional childhood in Ireland to her years in the spotlight beside Jack Nicholson and her evolution into a self-assured artist. The memoirs reveal not only her sharp intellect but also her reflections on love, loss, and the demands of fame. Her marriage to sculptor Robert Graham marked a significant chapter of peace and creativity in her life. The couple shared a home in Venice, California, that became a hub of artistic exchange. Following Graham's death in 2008, Huston continued to honor his memory through her work and charitable efforts, particularly in the arts and animal welfare. In recent years, Huston has appeared in a mix of independent and mainstream projects, including 50-50, 2011, John Wick, Chapter 3 Parabellum, 2019, and the Netflix film The French Dispatch, 2021. Again reuniting with Wes Anderson. Even in supporting roles, her presence commands attention. Her voice, stature, and magnetic screen energy remain instantly recognizable. Anjelica Huston's legacy rests not only on her talent but on her authenticity. She is one of the rare figures in Hollywood who embodies both the mystique of its golden era and the modern ethos of creative freedom. With her commanding elegance, fierce intelligence, and lifelong dedication to her craft, Huston stands as a symbol of artistic integrity and timeless grace. Anjelica Huston's relationship with her father, John Huston, was one of the most defining and complex influences of her life. John Huston, the legendary filmmaker behind classics like The Maltese Falcon, The Treasure of the Sierra Madre, and The African Queen, was a towering figure in cinema, brilliant, eccentric, and often distant. For Anjelica, growing up under his shadow meant living within a world of artistic intensity and emotional turbulence. She spent much of her childhood at her father's estate, St. Claren's. In County Galway, Ireland, a sprawling, romantic property filled with artists, writers, and adventurers. The atmosphere was both idyllic and unconventional. John Huston encouraged freedom, curiosity, and intellectual exploration, exposing Anjelica to philosophy, art, and storytelling from an early age. Yet, his larger-than-life personality and frequent absences also created a sense of yearning in her, one that she would later channel into her emotionally rich performances. Her father's adventurous spirit inspired her worldview. He treated life as a grand narrative, one filled with risk, courage, and art, and Anjelica absorbed that philosophy deeply. In interviews and her memoirs, she often described her father as both fascinating and formidable, a man who could be as nurturing as he was intimidating. Their bond was creative as well as emotional. She admired his intellect and feared his disapproval, always striving to earn his respect through her own artistry. When she appeared in his 1969 film A Walk with Love and Death, she was only 17. The experience was difficult, she was inexperienced, and critics were unkind, but it marked the beginning of her cinematic education. Years later, when she starred in Prizzi's Honor, 1985, also directed by her father, the circle felt complete. This time, she was in full command of her craft. Her performance earned her an Academy Award. And John Huston lived to see his daughter triumph in one of his films, a profoundly emotional victory for both of them. Their relationship was never sentimentalized. It was built on mutual recognition and creative respect. Anjelica later said that her Oscar win under his direction felt like a conversation between equals, a moment of closure in their long, intricate bond. John Huston passed away in 1987, and Anjelica has often spoken of how his spirit continues to influence her choices, both artistic and personal. The Huston legacy, spanning from her grandfather Walter Huston to her nephew Jack Huston, represents one of Hollywood's most distinguished dynasties. Yet, Anjelica carved her own space within it. While Walter and John embodied the masculine frontier spirit of early American cinema, Anjelica became its feminine counterpart, elegant, intellectual, and mysterious, yet emotionally raw and deeply human. Her artistic sensibility is also shaped by her European upbringing and bohemian background. She spent time among painters, writers, and fashion icons, which gave her an understanding of aesthetics that transcends Hollywood glamour. Early in her career, she modeled for fashion greats like Richard Avedon and Bob Richardson, and was a muse to designers such as Huston. Her striking bone structure and regal demeanor made her a natural in the world of high fashion. But she ultimately found modeling too restrictive compared to acting's emotional depth. Huston's personal life has also mirrored her father's adventurousness, passionate, bold, and sometimes tumultuous. Her long relationship with Jack Nicholson in the 1970s and 1980s became one of Hollywood's most storied romances, filled with artistic intensity and emotional volatility. Despite the pain it caused her, Huston later reflected on the relationship with honesty and grace, acknowledging it as both formative and finite. In her later years, Huston has become something of a philosophical observer of Hollywood, unafraid to speak candidly about the industry's vanity, the challenges faced by aging actresses, and the importance of maintaining one's integrity. She has criticized the loss of depth in modern filmmaking while still embracing the creativity of independent cinema. Her voice, measured, witty, and often tinged with melancholy, embodies the wisdom of someone who has lived through every stage of fame and artistry. Today, Anjelica Huston remains a symbol of endurance and individuality in an industry that often prizes conformity. Whether portraying a ruthless matriarch, an eccentric witch, or a sorrowful mother, she brings a sense of soulful grandeur, a rare combination of elegance, danger, and emotional truth. Anjelica Huston's acting style is one of the most distinctive in modern cinema, an elegant fusion of discipline, intelligence, and emotional precision. Critics often describe her screen presence as majestic and magnetic, capable of commanding attention even in silence. What makes Huston so extraordinary is her ability to convey deep, often conflicting emotions beneath a composed exterior, grace and fury, tenderness and irony, beauty and menace, all coexisting in subtle harmony. The essence of her screen presence, Huston's face itself, tells a story. Her sculptural bone structure, regal posture, and piercing gaze lend her an air of timeless authority. Yet, what sets her apart is not merely her appearance but the psychological depth she brings to each role. She acts not from vanity but from truth, inhabiting her characters with total commitment. Whether she's playing a grieving widow, a criminal mastermind, or an eccentric matriarch, Huston radiates a sense of lived experience, as though she's carrying the full weight of a lifetime in every gesture. Her performances often balance restraint and eruption. She can remain perfectly still, her voice calm and deliberate, while suggesting oceans of emotion just beneath the surface. Then, with a single movement, a narrowed eye, a sharp turn, a low growl of dialogue, she releases that tension in a way that's electrifying. This command of rhythm and tone gives her work an almost theatrical power, reminiscent of classic stage acting, yet filtered through cinematic naturalism. Signature roles and themes. Many of Huston's most memorable characters share certain qualities: intelligence, self-possession, wounded pride, and a refusal to be underestimated. As Morticia Addams in the Addams Family films, she crafted a performance that was equal parts camp and sophistication. Her Morticia was darkly comic, sensual, and oddly tender, a gothic mother figure who made the macabre feel romantic. It became one of her most iconic roles, influencing generations of fans and solidifying her as a symbol of unconventional beauty. In The Grifters, she revealed a much darker side. As Lily Dillon, she portrayed a con artist who manipulates and deceives to survive, yet whose every action seems haunted by regret and desperation. Critics called her performance a master class in controlled intensity. As Etheline Tenenbaum in The Royal Tenenbaums, Huston's subtle, melancholy warmth gave emotional grounding to Wes Anderson's stylized world. She turned a potentially cold intellectual into a portrait of quiet compassion and maternal grace. Voice and physicality. Huston's deep, resonant voice is one of her trademarks, a blend of velvet and steel. She uses it like an instrument, modulating tone and rhythm to express authority, irony, or vulnerability. Her diction is precise yet unforced, giving her dialogue a musical, hypnotic quality. Her physicality is equally deliberate. She moves with the poise of a dancer, every gesture measured, every turn of the head purposeful. This sense of control gives her performances their gravitas. She never wastes motion or emotion. It's a style that feels almost regal, yet entirely human. Philosophy of acting. Huston has often said that she approaches acting as a way to explore human complexity rather than to seek approval. She resists sentimentality, preferring ambiguity and contradiction. "I don't like to play saints," she once remarked. "I'm more interested in the cracks, the parts where people are struggling to hold it together." Her craft reflects her lifelong exposure to art and storytelling, from her father's philosophical realism to her own experiences in fashion and literature. She's drawn to roles that challenge stereotypes of women, portraying them as multifaceted beings, strong but fallible, seductive but cerebral, fragile yet unbreakable. Legacy and influence. Anjelica Huston has become a role model for actors who value integrity over glamour. Her career stands as a testament to longevity through authenticity, proof that depth and intelligence can outshine superficial charm. Younger actors like Tilda Swinton, Cate Blanchett, and Eva Green have cited her as an influence, particularly her ability to merge darkness with dignity. Even now, in her 70s, Huston remains a powerful cultural presence. Whether appearing in an independent film, voicing an animated character, or delivering a sharp interview, she exudes the same enigmatic confidence that has defined her since her debut. Her career is less about chasing fame and more about embodying truth, about finding the beauty in imperfection and the strength in vulnerability. Anjelica Huston's legacy is not merely that of an actress, but of a cinematic philosopher, a woman who has lived artfully, loved fiercely, and acted fearlessly. She represents the rare blend of intellect, artistry, and mystery that defines the very best of Hollywood's golden spirit. Anjelica Huston's cultural impact extends far beyond her filmography. She has become an enduring symbol of feminine power, sophistication, and independence in an industry long dominated by conventional ideals. Over the decades, she has reshaped the image of the Hollywood actress, proving that true allure and influence come not from youth or conformity, but from intelligence, individuality, and authenticity. Redefining feminine power in a world that often typecasts women into passive or ornamental roles, Huston has always gravitated toward characters who possess agency, intellect, and emotional strength. Whether she's playing a cunning manipulator or a quietly dignified mother, her women are never victims of circumstance, they command it. Her performances defy the notion that femininity must be soft or subservient. Instead, she embodies a form of power rooted in confidence and self-knowledge. Roles like Morticia Addams and Lily Dillon encapsulate this complexity. Morticia, draped in black and radiating unflappable poise, became a pop cultural archetype of empowered sensuality, mysterious, witty, and completely self-assured. In contrast, Lily Dillon from The Grifters exposes the darker dimensions of female survival, revealing how intelligence and charm can become tools in a ruthless world. These characters reflect the dualities that define Huston herself: elegance and danger, grace and grit. Her influence on the representation of women in cinema is profound. In the 1980s and 1990s, an era when Hollywood often celebrated youth and glamour, Huston was unapologetically mature, cerebral, and unconventional. She didn't rely on ingenue appeal. Instead, she brought a European sense of sophistication and irony to American film. Critics have often compared her to Katharine Hepburn for her dignity, and to Bette Davis for her emotional fearlessness, but Huston has always maintained a singular style that is entirely her own. A style and symbol beyond acting outside of her roles, Huston's persona has had a tremendous impact on fashion and art. In the 1970s, as a muse to photographers like Richard Avedon and Bob Richardson, she helped redefine the image of feminine beauty, strong features, sharp intelligence, and androgynous allure. Designers like Halston and Yves Saint Laurent admired her statuesque presence and ability to turn simplicity into sophistication. Even today, her aesthetic, arched brows, sleek silhouettes, dark glamour, remains iconic. Morticia Addams's look, largely influenced by Huston's own natural style, has inspired countless fashion designers, artists, and even drag performers. She has become a cultural shorthand for elegance with an edge, a woman who is both commanding and mysterious, refined and rebellious. Influence on generations younger actresses such as Tilda Swinton, Cate Blanchett, Charlize Theron, and Eva Green have all echoed elements of Huston's influence: her fearlessness, her poise, her commitment to roles that blur the lines between beauty and menace. Directors, too, continue to seek out the kind of nuance she embodies, an actress who can convey worlds of meaning with a glance. Her presence in Wes Anderson's films introduced her to a new generation of cinephiles who appreciated her quiet emotional resonance. In Anderson's world of stylized melancholy, Huston's characters act as emotional anchors. Her performances convey the gravity and wisdom that balance his whimsy. Voice of wisdom and rebellion beyond the screen, Anjelica Huston has become a sharp, reflective voice on the state of Hollywood and the evolution of art. In interviews, she speaks candidly about aging, sexism, and the commodification of actors. Often with humor and fierce intelligence, she refuses to adopt the detached self-promotion typical of celebrity culture, choosing instead to discuss the craft of storytelling and the responsibility of artists to remain truthful. Her memoirs, A Story Lately Told, 2013, and Watch Me, 2014, are widely praised for their honesty, literary style, and introspection. They paint a portrait of a woman who has lived fully, one who has loved, lost, struggled, and thrived without compromising her sense of self. Huston writes not just as an actress recounting a career but as a philosopher reflecting on what it means to live artfully. Enduring legacy today, Anjelica Huston stands as one of the last great figures linking Hollywood's golden age to its modern evolution. She carries the legacy of her family, the Huston spirit of adventure and authenticity, into a world that often forgets those roots. Yet, she has made that legacy uniquely her own. Her name evokes not only cinematic excellence but also cultural resilience. She represents a vision of womanhood that is ageless and unapologetic, rooted in depth rather than perfection. Like her father before her, she treats art as a reflection of
Bye bye. Thanks for watching. Bye.